Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer another boy had made to the goddess when he had finally got a pair of shoes. The narrator remembered about another boy who was praying to God, to the goddess, to have a pair of shoes. Let me never lose them. The goddess had granted his prayer. Young boys, like the son of the priest, now wore shoes, but many others, like the ragpickers in my neighborhood, remain shoeless. Means the ragpickers, they didn't have the shoes, they remained shoeless. My acquaintance means the state of being known, Known, known. My acquaintance with the barefoot ragpickers leads me to Simhapuri. As the narrator came to know them, she visited Simhapuri, a place. Simhapuri is a place on the periphery, outskirt, just on the entrance of the city. A place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it. Though Simhapuri was a place just on the periphery of Delhi, miles away from it metaphorically. If you compare, it is just miles away from it. Why? Delhi is a developed city, metropolitan city. It is hoped, believed that rich class people lived there, but the case was not so. These ragpickers were actually there living on the periphery of Delhi. Those who live here are squatters who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Those who lived there, they are the squatters. Squatters mean unlawful occupiers. Those who had occupied the land unlawfully, who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Saib's family is among them. Simhapuri was then a wilderness. It still is, but it is no longer empty. That time, Simhapuri was full of wilderness, but now it is no longer empty. In structures of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, lack of sewage, drainage, or running water, live 10,000 ragpickers. 10,000 ragpickers were living there without any sewage, drainage, running water. They were living in the tents. They have lived here for more than 30 years without an identity, without permits, but with the ration cards that get their names on voters. They had the ration cards to register their names on the voters list and enable them to buy grains. Food is more important for survival than identity. Actually, for them, identity was not a problem. The problem was to have 2 times meal a day. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Says a group of women in tattered saris when I asked them why they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers. When the narrator asked a group of women, they replied, if they could earn 2 times meal here, then this place was better than the place where they had come from, their own land. Wherever they find food, they pitch their tents that become transit homes, temporary homes. Children grow up in them, becoming partners in survival. Both parents and children, they live in those tents. And survival in Simhapuri means rag picking. the only means of their survival was rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of a fine art, how beautifully they collect the garbage. Garbage to them is gold. Garbage is not garbage for them, that is gold for them. It is their deliberate or roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. But for a child, it is even more. Means for them, it is not garbage, it is something more for the children. It is not only a means of survival for them. So children will do the next page, we'll start the next page in the next class. Please read the chapter.